Young people, the first thing I want you to understand is that failure is not something you should fear. On the contrary, it is a great learning opportunity. I myself have been rejected from more than 30 jobs. Even KFC rejected me. But you know what? Every time I failed, it was a chance to grow and understand something new. If everything is always going well, you'll never learn how to deal with challenges. What I always say is, fail early. Fail a lot. When we fail, we become stronger. Failure teaches us resilience, a skill that immediate success doesn't give us. When we started Alibaba, nobody believed in us. Everyone laughed at our idea of creating an e-commerce platform in China. But I've always known that those who are afraid to fail will never see true success. One of my favorite sayings is, a blind man riding on the back of a blind tiger. This means that in the beginning, I didn't have total clarity about how Alibaba was going to win, but I kept going, trying. The journey of an entrepreneur is full of uncertainties. You will face obstacles, but it is in the most difficult moments that we discover how capable we are. Every mistake is a chance to refine your strategy and become better. Remember, if you've never failed, it's because you've never tried anything new. You're young, you have the energy and the ability to take risks, so why not? Failure is temporary, but learning is eternal. You need to believe in yourself, even when no one else does. I remember when I started Alibaba. I shared my vision with 24 friends at my house, and 23 of them said I was crazy. They couldn't see what I saw. And you know what I thought? If not now, when? If not me, who? Self-confidence is something you must develop and protect. Often, people around you will try to discourage you, not because they're bad, but because they can't see what you see. But if you don't believe in yourself, who will? If I had given up at the first criticism, Alibaba would never have become what it is today. Believe in your dreams, but also be willing to learn. Trusting yourself doesn't mean ignoring feedback. On the contrary, it means knowing how to listen and grow with it, without losing your vision. True trust is flexible. It adapts, but it never breaks. And remember, it's okay to change course, but never give up on the goal. You are the leaders of the future. And the world needs more young people who have confidence in their ideas and their ability to make a difference. Remember, everyone starts out unknown. It's not easy, but who said it would be? Success begins the moment you decide to believe in yourself, despite everything. No matter how talented someone is, without perseverance, talent alone is not enough to win in life. When we were a small company, we competed with giants like eBay. They had more money, more resources, and more experience. But you know what we had that they didn't? Perseverance. We simply refused to give up. I always say that talent is something you can be born with, but perseverance is a daily choice. Everyone can be talented at something, but few have the ability to persevere when the going gets tough. And believe me, things will get tough. You will doubt yourself. People will doubt you. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the ability to keep going. I once said, if everything is ready, it's already too late. This means that if you wait for the perfect moment, you'll never act. The road to success is full of uncertainties, but that shouldn't paralyze you. You need to keep going even when you don't feel ready. Persistence is what will turn your vision into reality. And one last thing, perseverance also involves patience. You need to understand that success doesn't happen overnight. You are planting the seeds now, and you will reap the rewards later. Stay firm, trust in the process, and above all, never give up. Today, we live in a world that changes every second. If you don't innovate, you'll be left behind. When I started Alibaba, most people in China didn't have access to the internet. I had to be creative. I had to innovate. Nobody believed that e-commerce would succeed in China. And guess what? Today, we're one of the biggest platforms in the world. Innovation doesn't mean reinventing the wheel, but thinking of better ways to solve problems. I always say to my employees, what can you do today that hasn't already been done? That's what sets you apart from the rest. If you just follow what everyone else is doing, you'll never be a leader. But innovation requires courage. You have to be willing to take risks. Creativity and innovation are born when you step out of your comfort zone. The best ideas come from moments of crisis or need. And here's the key. Failure is part of the innovation process. You're going to make mistakes, and that's fine. The important thing is to learn from those mistakes and keep trying. So young people, think differently. Don't be afraid to dream big. The world needs new ideas, and those ideas can come from you. Be creative, be innovative, and never be afraid to challenge the status quo. If there's one thing I've learned on my journey, it's that no one achieves success alone. From the very beginning of Alibaba, I knew that in order to turn my vision into reality, I would need an exceptional team. I've always believed that the strength of a company lies in its team. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go as a group. That's the secret. When I started, I didn't understand technology. I knew that to build a successful technology company, I would need the best people. I didn't need to be the smartest, but I did need to find people with skills that complemented my own. The role of a leader is not to do everything, but to know where to put the right people at the right time. Leading a team requires trust. You need to learn to delegate and, most importantly, to trust the people who are by your side. Many leaders fail because they want to control everything. But real success comes when you allow your team to grow, make decisions, and take responsibility. A motivated team with the freedom to create makes all the difference. I always say, Alibaba's success is not mine. It belongs to every team member who has worked tirelessly to make the company grow. When you have people committed to a common goal, you can overcome any obstacle. An aligned team can achieve anything. And here's an important tip. Take good care of the people around you. A great leader is one who inspires and cares for their team. If you invest in your team, they will give their best. Individual success is meaningless if it is not shared. You young people need to understand that true power lies in creating together, in collaborating, in dreaming and achieving as one. So remember, the future belongs to those who know how to work as a team. If you want to succeed, choose the right people, look after them, and grow together. That's the key to building something truly great. In today's world, everything is changing faster than ever. Technology advances, markets evolve, and consumer behavior changes constantly. If you want to succeed, you need to adapt quickly. We can no longer afford to think that things will stay the same. If there's one thing I've learned over the years, it's that the ability to adapt is more important than the knowledge you already have. When I founded Alibaba, the internet in China was practically non-existent. Many people said that e-commerce would never work in our country. We could have given up and taken a safer route, but we decided to adapt to the needs of the market and carry on. We changed our approach several times, always adjusting our strategy to keep up with the changes. And that's what made the difference. I always say, if everything is ready, it's already too late. Waiting for the perfect moment to act is a mistake. Opportunities appear when you are willing to move quickly and courageously. Adaptation is not just a question of survival, it's a question of seizing opportunities before they disappear. Adaptation also involves being open to continuous learning. You young people are entering a world where today's knowledge may not be relevant tomorrow. So never stop learning. Always be aware of new technologies, trends, and changes around you. This will allow you to adjust your mindset and skills according to what the world needs. Remember, those who don't adapt are left behind. You need to be quick, agile, and flexible. If you can develop this skill, you'll be prepared for whatever changes the future brings. If you want to be successful, you must be prepared to face many challenges. It won't be easy, and it will often be painful. But it is in these moments that resilience becomes one of your greatest strengths. Life will test you again and again, and success is reserved for those who, instead of giving up, choose to keep going. On my journey, I have faced many challenges. When Alibaba was in its infancy, we went through financial crises, were pressured by the competition, and it often felt like failure was on our doorstep. But what I always kept in mind was the importance of a resilient mindset. I knew that if I gave up, everything we dreamed of would have been in vain. That's why I kept moving forward, even when the path seemed impossible. Resilience is the ability to get back up, no matter how many times you fall. When you face a setback, and I guarantee you will, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Every challenge is a lesson in disguise. Don't think of failure as an end, but as a natural part of the journey. I always remind my team, you only really fail when you give up. The world of business and entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. There will be ups and downs, but what matters is how you deal with the downs. A resilient mindset is one that finds solutions even in the worst of circumstances. So, young people, when the going gets tough, and it will, remember that true strength comes from persistence. You are stronger than you think, and each challenge you face will only make you better prepared for the next. If there's one thing I believe deeply, it's that true success comes not just from making money, but from serving others. If you want to create a lasting impact on the world, you need to start with the mindset of helping. Money is a consequence, not the end goal. When my team and I founded Alibaba, our purpose was not to get rich, but to help small businesses in China reach the global market. I always say, customers are our #1 priority. The team is #2, and shareholders come last. That's because if you serve your customers well and look after your team, success will come naturally. Putting the well-being of others first creates a positive cycle that goes far beyond immediate profits. Serving others also means thinking about how your company or project can solve real problems. When you think about serving, rather than just earning, you start to see opportunities that you didn't see before. That's how Alibaba grew. Instead of focusing only on profits, we focused on how we could make life easier for our users. This kind of approach creates trust, loyalty, and in the long run, a much greater impact. You need to ask yourself, how can I add value to the people around me? No matter what career or business you choose, the ultimate goal should always be to create something that benefits others. When you live to serve, the impact you leave will be remembered far beyond the numbers. In the end, service is a meaningful choice. And believe me, the world needs more young people who think like that. Victories are sweet, but it's defeats that teach us the most important lessons. Throughout my life, I have learned much more from my failures than from my successes. Every time I've fallen, I've gotten up with more wisdom and more determination. If you don't learn to deal with defeats, you won't be prepared for victories. When Alibaba faced crises, I knew it was a learning opportunity. I always asked my team, what did we do wrong? How can we improve? We weren't afraid to acknowledge our mistakes because we knew that the answers to success were hidden in them. When you face defeat, the worst thing you can do is ignore it. Every failure contains a valuable lesson. Success alone does not teach. When things are going well, it's easy to get complacent. But it's in moments of difficulty that we really grow. Learning from defeats means taking an honest look at what went wrong and having the courage to change. It's not about avoiding failures, but using them to improve. This is resilience and constant learning. Believe me, defeats are temporary, but the lessons they bring are lasting. You are young and have plenty of time to learn, make mistakes, and grow. Don't be afraid of failing. Be afraid of not learning from your failures. That's what makes all the difference between those who just dream and those who turn their dreams into reality. Finally, I want to say something very important. The world is changing fast, and the only way to keep up is to never stop learning. When I was young, the internet didn't exist. Today, it is the basis of our world. Technology changes, demands change, and if you stop learning, you'll be left behind. I always say, the biggest investment you can make is in yourself. Learning is not just about acquiring technical knowledge, but also about yourself. Formal education is important, but the real learning happens when you step out of your comfort zone, when you face challenges, explore new ideas, and allow yourself to make mistakes. You need to be curious. Read, talk to people from different fields, learn new skills. Knowledge is the one thing no one can take away from you, and it's what will keep you relevant in any market or situation. What you learn today is what will define who you are tomorrow. And remember, the learning journey never ends. Every day is a new opportunity for growth. In the future, the real leaders will be those who know how to adapt and learn along the way. So never stop. Success always lies ahead for those who are willing to keep learning. If you want to build the future, start learning now. If not now, when? If not you, then who? The future belongs to you. Good luck, and I'll always be here supporting you.
Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try, the world seems to be against you? That mistakes and failures are constant, and success seems a distant reality? The truth is that many of you are holding on to beliefs that are blocking you. Jack Ma went through this too. At the beginning of his journey, Jack Ma was rejected more than 30 times, including at KFC. But do you know what he discovered? That failure is one of the best fuels for success. Imagine this. You don't have to be the smartest or the most prepared. What will set you apart is the ability to persist and adapt quickly. If everything seems ready and perfect, it's already too late. If you wait for the ideal moment, others will have already occupied the space that should be yours. If not now, when? If not you, who? In this video, we share with you 10 powerful lessons that Jack Ma has learned along the way, which have transformed the way he sees the world and business. We talk about why perseverance is more valuable than talent, how embracing failure can take you further than you think, and how creativity can be your greatest weapon in a world that changes every second. If you follow these steps, you'll start to see changes much sooner than you think. Each of these lessons could be the turning point in your life. And the best part, they're simple, practical, and can be applied right now. Let's discover together how to turn failures into stepping stones to success. Subscribe to the channel and always come back here when you need an extra dose of energy. Failure is a word that often scares people. But Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, sees it as one of the most powerful teachers. He has mentioned many times that failure played an essential role in his journey to success. If we look at his own story, being rejected from countless jobs and even university didn't stop him from trying. Each failure was another lesson, another opportunity to grow. Jack Ma's approach teaches us that failure is not the end, but rather the beginning of a new chance to do things differently. When we fail, our first reaction might be frustration, but Jack encourages us to replace that feeling with curiosity. What can I learn from this? It's an approach that, in the long run, transforms every obstacle into a lesson. During the early days of Alibaba, Jack Ma faced numerous difficulties. If he had given up after his first failures, we wouldn't have the e-commerce giant that exists today. The real key here is resilience. Transforming failure into opportunity requires not just identifying mistakes, but also coming back stronger and with more innovative strategies. In business, this might mean pivoting an idea, adjusting a business model, or simply persisting a little longer. Jack Ma embodies this belief with his unshakable faith in Alibaba's potential, even when few believed in the project. There's a famous quote by Thomas Edison that Jack Ma likes to refer to. "I have not failed 10,000 times. I've successfully found 10,000 ways that will not work." That's the spirit. If Edison had given up, would we have the electric light bulb today? This kind of thinking shows that every attempt that doesn't succeed is simply another step toward success. And that's the mindset Jack Ma encourages young people to adopt. In the end, failure is inevitable, but it doesn't have to be the final destination. As Jack frequently emphasizes, if you learn to accept failure as a chance to grow, you will always be one step ahead. Now, believing in yourself is the first step toward turning dreams into reality. And Jack Ma is a living example of this philosophy. When he was starting out, few believed that a small Chinese startup could compete with global giants. But Jack didn't let others' doubts affect his self-confidence. He knew that to achieve success, he had to trust his vision, even when no one else could see it. One of Jack's most impactful pieces of advice is simple but powerful. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. This belief in oneself is what drives bold actions, risky decisions, and persistence, even in the face of adversity. Often, young people are discouraged by external criticism, but true strength comes from within. Unshakable confidence not only motivates but also inspires others to believe in you. Throughout his journey, Jack Ma faced many rejections, from job applications to funding requests for his company. However, he never let external opinions dictate his future. When everyone around him doubted Alibaba's potential, he pressed forward. A practical example of how self-belief can shape destiny is Jack's decision to keep investing in the platform. Even when market analysts predicted it would fail in the competitive market, self-belief often needs to be cultivated, especially in a world where comparisons are inevitable. Jack highlights that each person's path to success is unique, and you shouldn't allow others' skepticism to define your value. It's like running a long-distance race. Those who focus on other runners end up distracted, losing their own pace. The key is to keep moving toward your dream, regardless of what others say. The message is clear. Believing in yourself, even when no one else does, is what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who give up halfway. Jack Ma is proof that with faith in your own vision and abilities, the impossible becomes possible. But belief is only part of the equation. The other key is perseverance, which we'll explore next. If Jack Ma has taught us anything, it's that perseverance often outweighs natural talent in almost every situation. He frequently mentions that many of the most successful people he has met throughout his life weren't necessarily the most talented, but they were the most persistent. After all, talent can take you only so far, but the ability to keep trying, even when things get tough, is what determines long-term success. A clear example Jack uses is his own journey with Alibaba. When he started, he didn't have much technical talent. In fact, he had limited knowledge of technology. However, his determination and willingness to learn along the way made up for that. On many occasions, Jack has stated that talent without persistence is like a car without fuel. You may have a great vehicle, but you won't go anywhere without the drive to keep it moving. Perseverance means treating every setback as an opportunity to try again, this time with more experience. In the case of Alibaba, there were many moments when success seemed far away. However, Jack Ma and his team never stopped working toward their vision, adapting, learning, and growing with each failure. This kind of persistence is what he believes truly separates those who succeed from those who give up. Another important aspect of perseverance is that it builds character. As you go through tough times and keep pushing forward, you develop a resilient mindset that is hard to break. Perseverance also teaches patience, something Jack believes is crucial in both business and personal life. No matter how talented you are, without the patience to see your work come to fruition and the determination to keep nurturing your vision, success will be short-lived. In the end, talent might be a great starting point, but it's perseverance that leads to the finish line. And as Jack Ma always says, you may not be the most talented, but you can be the most persistent. This is valuable advice, especially for young people who are often pressured to achieve quick results. The real secret lies in continuing, even when the path seems tough. And this brings us to another crucial ingredient for success: innovation and creativity. While perseverance keeps you on the path, it's innovation and creativity that will make you stand out. Jack Ma firmly believes that in a rapidly changing world, innovation isn't optional, it's a necessity. He often highlights that you can't achieve success by merely following the same formulas that have been used before. To him, thinking creatively and disruptively are the keys to unlocking new opportunities in the global market. A prime example of innovation in Jack Ma's journey was how Alibaba positioned itself within the e-commerce space. While many saw China's lack of digital infrastructure in the 1990s as a barrier, Jack saw an opportunity. He not only innovated by creating a platform that connected small businesses to the world, but also led the digital revolution in a country hungry for progress. His success came from not being afraid to try something new, unlike the Western giants dominating the market. Creativity, according to Jack, isn't just about having big ideas. It's about applying those ideas in ways that solve real problems. In the global market, problems are plentiful, and businesses that can innovate and adapt to consumer needs will always have a competitive edge. This is especially important for young people entering the workforce now. They need to be able to look at the world's challenges creatively, proposing solutions that others haven't thought of yet. Jack Ma also believes that innovation isn't something you do once and stop. True innovation is continuous. He often compares innovation to physical exercise. The more you practice creativity, the easier it becomes to generate new ideas and solutions. Instead of waiting for the answers to come to you, he encourages young people to be proactive in seeking out ways to reinvent themselves constantly. In the end, the world is constantly changing, and the ability to innovate is what differentiates those who simply follow the crowd from those who create their own path. Of course, no one can do this alone, and that brings us to the next essential ingredient for success: the power of teamwork. Innovation may be crucial, but Jack Ma always emphasizes that no one can achieve great success on their own. The power of teamwork is one of the most important lessons he shares. Throughout his journey with Alibaba, Jack consistently surrounded himself with individuals who shared his vision and brought different skills to the table. He knew that in order to build something as massive as Alibaba, he needed the help of a dedicated and skilled team. Teamwork allows for the exchange of ideas, perspectives, and talents that would be impossible to achieve alone. Jack often mentions how his team at Alibaba brought invaluable insights that helped the company navigate complex global markets. The ability to collaborate, delegate, and trust others is essential for long-term success, both in business and in personal growth. No matter how talented or hardworking you are, a solid team can amplify your impact. One key aspect of successful teamwork, as Jack highlights, is the importance of aligning everyone with the same mission. When a group of people shares the same purpose, their combined efforts create a synergy that drives innovation and efficiency. Jack Ma emphasizes that success isn't about individual glory, it's about what the team can achieve together. For him, the strength of Alibaba came from the collective intelligence and determination of his team, not just his leadership. Teamwork is also vital in overcoming challenges. When faced with setbacks or difficulties, having a supportive and skilled team can make all the difference. Jack often reminds young people that in moments of crisis, your team becomes your greatest asset. Together, they can brainstorm solutions, adapt to changes, and keep pushing forward, even when things get tough. But beyond the professional world, Jack believes teamwork applies to life in general. Whether it's with family, friends, or colleagues, being able to work together toward a common goal creates lasting bonds and mutual support. And in a fast-changing world, the ability to adapt quickly is equally important. Let's explore why in the next topic. In today's world, change happens faster than ever before, and Jack Ma knows that the ability to adapt quickly is crucial for success. With technology evolving at a rapid pace, industries can transform overnight, and only those who are agile enough to adjust will thrive. For Jack, rapid adaptation is not just a skill, it's a mindset that every young person needs to cultivate if they want to remain relevant in an unpredictable world. One of the most striking examples of rapid adaptation in Jack Ma's career was during the rise of e-commerce in China. The Alibaba team needed to pivot quickly and adjust their strategies to keep up with the fast-moving market and emerging technologies. This kind of flexibility allowed them to stay ahead of competitors and continue growing in a highly volatile environment. Jack Ma believes that those who resist change or are slow to adapt will be left behind, no matter how skilled or experienced they are. But adapting quickly doesn't just apply to businesses, it's also essential for personal growth. Jack often tells young people to be open to learning new skills and to never become complacent with their current knowledge. In a world where trends, technologies, and market demands are constantly shifting, the most successful individuals are those who can quickly learn, unlearn, and relearn. He encourages young people to constantly push themselves out of their comfort zones and embrace new challenges with enthusiasm. Adaptation also requires resilience and a willingness to take risks. In times of uncertainty, making quick decisions can feel daunting, but Jack argues that it's better to move forward and adjust along the way than to remain stagnant. Being overly cautious can lead to missed opportunities, while those who are willing to adapt and evolve will discover new paths to success. Ultimately, the ability to adapt swiftly to new circumstances is what separates those who survive from those who thrive in today's fast-paced world. But as Jack Ma reminds us, having a resilient mindset is key to embracing these changes. Let's dive deeper into this next. Resilience is one of the cornerstones of Jack Ma's philosophy, and it's a trait that he believes every young person should cultivate. He often shares that life will inevitably bring challenges, but it's how we respond to them that defines our future. Jack himself faced countless setbacks, from being rejected from jobs to almost losing his company several times. But each time, he bounced back stronger, with a mindset focused on growth and opportunity. Developing a resilient mindset begins with accepting that failure and difficulties are a natural part of the journey. Jack encourages young people to embrace adversity as an opportunity to learn and grow, rather than something to fear. In fact, he believes that challenges are essential for building character and mental strength. Instead of being discouraged by setbacks, he teaches that resilience comes from seeing them as temporary roadblocks, not permanent defeats. A resilient mindset also requires patience. Jack often reminds us that success doesn't happen overnight and that perseverance is essential. In the face of obstacles, it's easy to become frustrated or lose motivation, but resilience is about continuing to push forward, even when progress seems slow. Jack Ma's personal journey is a testament to this principle. He had to wait years before Alibaba became profitable, but he never gave up. Resilience isn't just about enduring hardships. It's also about remaining optimistic in the face of uncertainty. Jack believes that maintaining a positive outlook, even when things aren't going your way, is crucial for keeping your momentum. A resilient mindset allows you to keep your eyes on the long-term goal despite short-term setbacks and helps you remain adaptable when circumstances change. At its core, resilience is about believing in your ability to overcome anything. It's not about avoiding challenges, but about meeting them head-on and finding ways to grow from the experience. And once you've developed resilience, you're in a better position to serve others, which is the next critical lesson. For Jack Ma, success is not just measured by personal achievements, but by the positive impact you have on others. He believes that the true value of success lies in how you can use it to help those around you. Serving others and contributing to society are principles that Jack encourages young people to embrace if they want to create a legacy that lasts. From the early days of Alibaba, Jack's vision was not only about building a successful company, but also about empowering small businesses and individuals to thrive in the global market. His belief that serving others creates greater value than serving yourself is central to his leadership style. Jack often emphasizes that if you focus solely on personal gain, your impact will be limited. However, when you shift your focus to how you can help others, you unlock the potential for lasting success and fulfillment. Service to others also fosters strong relationships and trust, which are invaluable assets in both business and life. Jack frequently mentions that building a successful company like Alibaba required not just smart business strategies, but also a deep commitment to helping employees, customers, and partners succeed. He believes that the success of a leader is measured by the success of the people around them. Furthermore, serving others brings a sense of purpose and meaning to your work. Jack Ma argues that fulfillment doesn't come from wealth or fame, but from knowing that you've made a positive difference in someone's life. Whether it's through mentorship, charitable work, or simply being a supportive team member, contributing to the success of others is one of the most rewarding aspects of any career. In the end, creating a lasting impact comes down to a mindset of service. Jack Ma's advice to young people is clear. The more you help others succeed, the more successful you will become. And this is a lesson he believes is best learned through experiences of failure, which brings us to the next insight. Jack Ma often says that failure is the best teacher, and one must learn to embrace defeat before truly appreciating success. His own life is filled with examples of early failures that ultimately led to greater victories. From being rejected by Harvard 10 times to the initial struggles of Alibaba, Jack learned that every setback holds valuable lessons that are essential for long-term success. Failure, in Jack's view, provides the perspective and humility needed to appreciate the victories that follow. When things don't go as planned, it forces you to reassess your strategies, improve your skills, and approach the next opportunity with more wisdom. Jack Ma encourages young people not to fear failure, but to see it as a necessary part of the journey. He believes that those who avoid risk and failure miss out on the valuable insights that come from these experiences. Jack also highlights that learning from defeats builds resilience, perseverance, and emotional intelligence, all qualities that are vital for success. When you experience failure, you develop the mental toughness to keep moving forward despite obstacles. This resilience is what allows you to take on even bigger challenges in the future, knowing that you've survived past defeats. Moreover, Jack believes that failure teaches gratitude. After experiencing setbacks, you become more appreciative of the small wins and the hard-earned victories that follow. This sense of gratitude keeps you grounded and reminds you of the hard work it takes to succeed. Jack Ma's advice is simple: savor your defeats as much as your victories because they are the building blocks of your success. As we approach the final insight, Jack Ma reminds us of one last essential key to future success: continuous learning. Let's explore why the future belongs to those who never stop learning. Jack Ma is a firm believer that lifelong learning is the key to staying ahead in an ever-evolving world. He frequently stresses that education doesn't end with school. It's a continuous process that should be embraced throughout life. The rapid advancements in technology and the constant shifts in the global economy mean that the most successful people are those who adapt by constantly learning and upgrading their skills. Jack's own life is a testament to this philosophy. Even as a successful entrepreneur, he continues to educate himself and learn from the people around him. Whether it's through reading, attending conferences, or simply listening to others, Jack believes that maintaining a curious mind is essential for growth. In his view, those who stop learning will be left behind, while those who stay curious will continue to evolve with the times. One of Jack's favorite pieces of advice for young people is to develop a habit of learning something new every day. This could be through books, online courses, or simply engaging in conversations with others who can offer different perspectives. Jack often references how crucial it is to learn from those who are smarter or more experienced. Surrounding yourself with knowledgeable individuals is one of the fastest ways to accelerate personal and professional growth. In the fast-paced digital age, Jack also emphasizes the importance of learning about new technologies and staying updated on industry trends. The world is changing faster than ever, and those who stay informed will have a significant advantage. Jack advises that young people should never be complacent with what they know. Instead, they should actively seek out new knowledge and skills to stay competitive in the marketplace. Ultimately, Jack Ma believes that the future belongs to those who are lifelong learners. Success in the future will be determined by the ability to adapt, evolve, and keep learning. As he says, "The day you stop learning is the day you stop growing." And with that, Jack Ma leaves us with a powerful reminder. The journey to success is not just about reaching the top, but about constantly improving along the way. Now that you know these 10 lessons, the question is, what are you going to do with them? Do you know what differentiates those who just listen from those who actually achieve success? It's no use just understanding, you have to apply. Are you ready to embrace failure and turn it into learning? Are you willing to work as a team, to innovate, to persevere when everyone else gives up? Remember, the future belongs to those who act now. With every challenge you face, come back to this video. Let these lessons guide you and renew your motivation. And when you need a new push, watch it again. You're closer to success than you think. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep learning with us. Don't miss the next video. How I Accepted Failure as Part of Success, Best Motivational Video, Jack Ma, where I'll reveal more powerful strategies to help you achieve your boldest goals.
When people look at success, they see the glitz, the glamour, and the end results. What they don't see is the path that leads there. I never imagined that I would be where I am today. I grew up in a poor family, and my path was full of failures. But what people need to understand is that success isn't just luck or talent. It's the result of constant action, even in the face of failure. How many times are you willing to fail before you achieve what you want? In my case, there were many. More qualified candidates beat me many times, but the difference was in my persistence. I never stopped acting, even when the chances seemed nil. The truth is that entrepreneurship requires sacrifice, unwavering resilience, and a clear vision of what you are trying to achieve. When I founded Alibaba, we weren't just trying to sell products. Our goal was to empower small businesses so that they could compete globally. That was the purpose that guided us, and it's something that every entrepreneur needs to understand. Success isn't about building something for yourself. It's about impacting the world. If you don't act with this mindset, sooner or later your venture will fail. So ask yourself, what am I really doing to improve the lives of the people around me? Brutally honest success is built on countless failures. In the early days of Alibaba, we failed again and again. We made over 1,000 mistakes. But it was through these failures that we learned and adjusted our path. Here's the reality. You'll never get it right on the first try. And you know what? That's okay. Each mistake brings a new lesson, a new perspective that better prepares you for the next attempt. I've always insisted that failure is not the opposite of success, but an essential part of it. The real question is, how do you respond to your mistakes? Do you take action and keep trying, or do you just give up? I always joke that I've become a rejection expert because I've been told no on so many occasions that I've lost count. And this is something many people don't want to hear. The road to success is paved with rejections and challenges. But if you don't have the willpower to keep going, even when it seems like everything is against you, then you'll never experience true success. People look at the end result and forget that success, more often than not, is the result of painful resilience. So if you're on an entrepreneurial journey, be prepared for difficult moments. They are inevitable. The real key to success isn't just a good idea or money. It's the ability to take action, even when the going gets tough. Many people give up before they even start to see results. And here's another hard truth. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's an accumulation of small actions, decisions that you make every day. The sooner you understand this, the better prepared you will be to face the challenges. Success, contrary to what many people think, is a marathon, not a sprint. And what will keep you going in this marathon is your ability to act and react, even when everything seems to be falling apart around you. Many people believe that you need to accomplish great things or have vast resources to make a difference in the world. But real impact starts with small gestures. When we started Alibaba, we didn't have large sums of money or huge influence. What we did have was a clear vision and a sincere desire to help small businesses. It was the small actions repeated day after day that led us to build something really significant. It's important to understand that success isn't just about one big turning point, but the sum of many small decisions and actions. If you're waiting for something big to happen before you take action, you're wasting valuable time. In my experience, simple actions taken from the heart have a profound impact. At Alibaba, we always encourage our employees to get involved in small acts of kindness and philanthropy, because for us, real change doesn't start with big donations or big movements, but with the will to help, even in a humble way. I remember when an earthquake hit Japan, and of course we donated money, but we knew that the real value was in the small actions our employees took to help people directly. Giving money may be easy, but it's the dedication of time and effort that really transforms societies. Success, both in business and in personal life, is built in a similar way. Think of a plant growing. It doesn't become a majestic tree overnight. It's daily care, water and light that make it thrive. In the same way, every small action you take to achieve your goals, whether at work, in relationships, or for personal growth, will add up in the long run. If you neglect these small actions, you may miss out on seeing the fruits in the future. What you are doing today, even if it seems insignificant, is shaping who you will be tomorrow. An important concept that I always carry with me is that consistency in the little things is what really makes the difference. Many people underestimate the power of repetition, of the simple act of continuing, even when the results don't appear immediately. But it is these constant actions that, over time, generate the success that many see as instantaneous. When you act consistently, the rewards start to come naturally, and that's when the bigger opportunities arise. Don't underestimate the impact that small daily changes can have on your life. That's the essence of what success means to me. A collection of small gestures that, over time, create something extraordinary. When I think of transformative actions, I remember a phrase that struck me. You may not change the whole world, but you can change someone's world. And that often starts with a simple attitude. Success is not only in the destination, but in every step we take towards it. And every step matters. Many people confuse charity with philanthropy, but there is an essential difference between the two. Charity is when you donate money and walk away, hoping that the resources will make a difference. Philanthropy, on the other hand, goes further. It involves action, involvement, and the desire to make a lasting impact. I've always believed that giving money is easy, but the real value is in committing to the work and being part of the solution. At Alibaba, our approach has always been based on philanthropy. We didn't just want to donate to a cause. We wanted to use our expertise and resources to create sustainable change. If you want to make a real impact, you need to be willing to take direct action, not just write checks. The problem many people have is believing that only rich people can be philanthropists, which is not true. I believe that anyone, regardless of their financial status, can contribute to a better world. Philanthropy is not about the amount of money you donate, but about the action you take to improve other people's lives. I remember when we created a new Chinese character, Xin, which combines the words family and heart. This character represents the idea that we should treat the world as one big family, taking care of each other. This vision of unity and action is what drives philanthropy in its true sense. Real impact comes from actions that demonstrate care and commitment. A simple donation can be forgotten, but when you get deeply involved in a cause, you help create lasting solutions. At Alibaba, our mission has always been to empower small businesses, but we also understand that we have a social responsibility. It's not just about selling products or services, but about how we can help transform communities. This philanthropic mindset guides us in many of our decisions. If you really want to make an impact, you need to be ready to put your hand in and be an active part of the transformation you want to see. The difference between charity and philanthropy lies in intention and involvement. Charity usually meets an immediate need, but philanthropy seeks long-term solutions. When there was an earthquake in Japan, we knew that donating money was important, but that wouldn't be enough to create significant change. The real impact came from the small actions of our employees who got directly involved in helping communities. That kind of attitude is what really transforms lives. It's not about the grandeur of the gesture, but about consistency and the genuine desire to make a difference. Finally, true philanthropy is accessible to everyone. It doesn't matter how big the contribution. What matters is how willing you are to act and get involved. Many people think that you have to be a multimillionaire to be a philanthropist, but that couldn't be further from the truth. If you have a good heart and are willing to commit to action, you are already doing philanthropy. Personal success, in fact, is intrinsically linked to how much you can contribute to the success of others. Ultimately, the value of action lies in your ability to transform the world around you. The impact of philanthropic actions is undeniable, but what sustains a company's continued success is the commitment of its team. And when we talk about teams, it's essential to recognize the crucial role of women. At Alibaba, almost half of our employees are women, and 37% of senior leadership positions are held by women. I've always been clear about this. The secret of Alibaba's success is directly related to gender diversity. If you want your company to be good, hire women. If you want your company to be excellent, ensure that men and women work together. It's this mix that brings different perspectives and innovative solutions. Women bring a sensitivity and holistic vision that men often lack. They are caring and at the same time incredibly focused on growth and innovation. I realized early on in my journey that the balance between men and women generates not only a more inclusive work environment, but also amazing results. I firmly believe that if more women were leading countries and organizations, the world would be a much more peaceful and harmonious place. In the end, inclusion is a powerful action that shapes the future of companies and society. And don't think that this is just a question of equality. Women have unique skills that, when applied to the workplace, transform the way businesses operate. They are resilient and have an incredible ability to see beyond the present, looking at the long-term impact of decisions made today. At Alibaba, women are essential to our continued growth, and I'm convinced that without them, we would not have come this far. Diversity is not just a question of fairness. It is a catalyst for innovation and success. If you're building a business, don't underestimate the importance of creating a working environment that values female talent. The best ideas emerge when different voices are heard. It's not enough just to include women. You need to ensure that they have the space to lead, innovate, and contribute their visions. One of the biggest mistakes a leader can make is to think that innovation only comes from the technical or financial side of a business. In fact, many of the greatest changes and solutions come from those that are directly linked to people and their needs. This balance of perspectives has been fundamental in my journey and is what will continue to shape the future of business. However, in order to maintain this constant innovation, we also need to foster an environment where new ideas can flourish. And that brings us to another essential point for success: the importance of innovation. Balancing different perspectives is essential, but what really drives companies forward is innovation. At Alibaba, we have always looked for ways to do things differently. From the start, our goal wasn't just to create an e-commerce platform. We wanted to transform the way small businesses operate and connect with the world. Innovation, for me, is not just about developing new technologies, but about finding more effective and creative solutions to problems that already exist. This is a fundamental truth on the road to success. Those who innovate are the ones who survive and thrive in an ever-changing world. Innovation, however, doesn't happen overnight. It is the result of a lot of trial and error and adjustments along the way. When we founded Alibaba, we experienced countless failures, but we never stopped trying new things. Every mistake was a learning opportunity, and every small advance brought a new idea to improve what we were building. To innovate, you need to be willing to experiment, and more importantly, to fail. Success is built on a continuous cycle of trying, learning, and adjusting. Without this commitment to constant innovation, stagnation is inevitable. And the truth is that innovation doesn't mean reinventing the wheel all the time. Sometimes it's a matter of looking at what already exists and finding more efficient ways of doing things. This is how we approached logistics at Alibaba. E-commerce was nothing new, but we realized that we could improve the experience for small businesses and make it more accessible. Innovation can be in the details, and it's often the small incremental changes that make the biggest impact. You don't always have to look for the big revolutionary idea. Instead, ask yourself, how can I improve what is already available to me? That's why I always say that true innovation comes from action. Many people have good ideas, but what sets apart those who manage to turn those ideas into reality is the will to act. Innovation without action is just a dream. When you are constantly trying new approaches and refining your ideas, innovations begin to emerge naturally. That's how Alibaba grew. Not because we had a brilliant idea, but because we were always willing to learn from our mistakes and act quickly and efficiently. As the world continues to change, innovation becomes even more crucial, especially in times of technological disruption, such as the digital revolution we are experiencing. Only those businesses that manage to adapt and innovate continuously will survive. And this leads us to think about the impact of these technological changes on the future of work and the opportunities that will arise for those who are prepared to embrace them. As innovation continues to shape the business world, the technological revolution is bringing even more profound changes. We are living in an era where automation and artificial intelligence are transforming the way we work. And this raises a crucial question. How do we prepare for a future where machines will do many of the tasks that today are done by people? At Alibaba, we realized early on that technology would completely reshape the future of work. But one thing is certain. No matter how advanced machines become, they can never replace human creativity and wisdom. That's why I firmly believe that we should focus on developing skills that machines cannot master. Machines can be faster, more precise, and more efficient at certain tasks, but they can't feel. They can't empathize, and they can't think creatively in the same way that we do. In the future, we shouldn't compete with machines on what they do best. Instead, we need to focus on developing our human capabilities, skills such as creativity, empathy, and complex problem solving. This is the true path to human prosperity in the midst of the technological revolution. One example that always makes me smile is when I lost to artificial intelligence in the game of Go. Why compete with a machine at something it does better? That experience reminded me that trying to outdo machines at technical tasks is pointless. We need to focus on our unique abilities. Machines can win on the Go board, but they can never be as creative and empathetic as a human being. That's the secret to surviving and thriving in the future of work. Focusing on being more human, developing emotional intelligence, and cultivating creativity. The big question we must all ask ourselves is, are we prepared for this transformation? Technology will continue to advance, and many of the professions we know today will not exist in the future. However, this also means that new opportunities, new industries, and new career paths will emerge. To excel in this uncertain future, we need to commit to continuous learning and adaptation. We can't sit back and wait for the changes to hit us. We need to act and prepare ourselves to lead these changes. This technological revolution is not a threat, but an opportunity if we know how to take advantage of it. The future of work will not only be defined by what machines can do, but by what we as human beings will be able to create and build. And this leads us to an important reflection. How are we preparing for this future? This is one of the biggest challenges that the new generations will face, and it is up to each of us to act now to ensure that we are ready for what is to come. With the technological revolution shaping the future of work, it's clear that we can't expect things to stay the same. Machines may dominate many tasks, but that doesn't mean there's no room for us. The key to thriving in this new landscape is preparation. When I was young, I faced countless rejections and failures. And instead of getting down on myself, I used each of these experiences to strengthen myself and learn new skills. The future is not a place to be afraid of, but a field of opportunities for those who are willing to keep learning and adapting. For young people, my advice is simple. Never stop learning. Education doesn't end when you leave school. On the contrary, it really begins when you face the real world. What you learn today will be the basis of your success tomorrow. And I'm not just talking about formal education. The ability to learn from your own experiences, to be curious, and to constantly seek self-development is what will determine your success in a future where knowledge is constantly evolving. Automation may eliminate many jobs, but it will also create new ones. The key is to be prepared to reinvent yourself. It's interesting to think about how previous generations viewed work. My grandfather used to say that he worked 18 hours a day and still felt busy. Today, we work 8 hours a day and feel the same way. In the future, our grandchildren may only work 3 or 4 hours a day, and they'll still say they're busy. The pace of work will change, but what can't change is our dedication to preparing for that future. If you want to be successful, you need to be proactive. The future won't wait for you, it's coming. And the only way to prosper is to act now. The future will be challenging, yes, but also full of opportunities for those who have the courage to innovate and keep learning. Success in the future will not only be measured by your technical ability, but by your ability to adapt and learn new skills quickly. When I look back, I realize that every rejection I faced, every failure I experienced, prepared me for the challenges I face today. And that's the lesson I want to pass on. Every obstacle is a chance to learn. Take every opportunity to become better, stronger, and more prepared for what lies ahead. Ultimately, what defines us are not the moments of success, but the moments when we are challenged and choose to continue. The future belongs to those who are willing to act, those who prepare tirelessly, and those who never stop learning. This preparation is fundamental because the road to the future is full of uncertainties. But one thing is certain: those who are prepared will prosper. And that brings us to a truth that few understand. Failure is often our greatest teacher. When people look at me, they often see a successful man, but what they don't realize is that success didn't come easily or quickly. The road to this point was paved with countless failures. Founding Alibaba was one of the biggest challenges of my life, and during the first few years, we made over 1,000 mistakes. But here's the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Every time we fail, we learn something new. Failure is a powerful teacher, and the lessons it offers us are essential for anyone who wants to achieve real success. Many people are afraid of failure, but what I've learned is that failure teaches us what success never can. It forces us to examine our weaknesses, adjust our course, and improve. I remember every no I received at the start of my career. I applied for dozens of jobs and was rejected every time. I was even turned down to work at KFC. But instead of letting those rejections discourage me, I used each one as motivation to keep trying. That's why I say that failure is a blessing in disguise. It prepares us to be stronger and more resilient. If you really want to succeed, you need to get used to the idea of failure. This may seem counterintuitive, but it's reality. Nobody learns anything when everything is going well. The most valuable lessons come from the moments when you face challenges and difficulties. At the beginning of Alibaba, when we faced difficulties, I would always remind myself that with every failure, we were one step closer to getting it right. And the same thing goes for anyone who is striving for success. Every time you fail, you are actually getting closer to something greater. The problem is that many people give up after the first mistake. They see failure as a signal to stop, when in fact, it's an invitation to continue. Imagine if I had given up after the first mistakes at Alibaba. We would never have built the company it is today. Resilience is one of the most important skills that any entrepreneur or professional can develop. It helps you to see failure not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity for growth. And believe me, if you learn to learn lessons from your failures, you'll be able to transform any situation. What defines success is not the number of times you win, but the number of times you get up after falling. Each failure offers a new learning opportunity, a new chance to try again in a better way. The success that many see today is the result of many failures that came before. And this is one of the most important truths you should take into the future. Learn to embrace failure and use it as fuel for your success. And speaking of the future, this leads us to think about something crucial, the role of education in preparing us for what's to come. If failure is one of our greatest teachers, education must be the fertile ground where these lessons are planted and nurtured. But here's the truth. Today's education system is not preparing our young people for the future that awaits them. In the next 30 years, what we teach in schools today will be obsolete. We need a radical change in the way we think about education. Machines are becoming smarter and more efficient, but what machines will never be able to learn are the human skills that truly matter: creativity, empathy, and the ability to solve complex problems. I believe that the future of education will not be about memorizing facts or following ready-made formulas. It will be about teaching people to think critically, to adapt quickly, and above all, to be problem solvers. If our young people continue to be educated like machines, we will lose what makes humanity special. When I think about the future of education, I see the need to encourage curiosity, the ability to ask questions, and the courage to face challenges. We can no longer afford to prepare our children for the jobs of yesterday. We need to prepare them for the world of tomorrow. One interesting change I've seen in recent years is how education is starting to transform to keep up with this uncertain future. Online learning platforms, practical skills courses, and the teaching of soft skills are gaining ground, and that's just the beginning. However, we need to do more. Today's children must be taught to be innovative, to fail with confidence, and to learn from those failures. The world doesn't need more robotic workers who follow orders without question. We need creative thinkers who can deal with an ever-changing world. At Alibaba, we always value those who bring new ideas to the table, even if those ideas don't initially work. Innovation is born out of continuous education, constant learning, and a willingness to take on new challenges. And this is exactly what we need to teach the next generation. We can no longer educate them to conform to a system. We must prepare them to create new systems. The education of the future will be about how we can use our imagination to solve problems that don't even exist yet. Transformation in education is not just necessary, it is urgent. Success in the future will not be measured by how much you know, but by how much you can learn and adapt. And that's the kind of education we need to cultivate. As we move into this new world, the focus must always be on human skills that machines will never be able to master. And one of those skills is perseverance, something that must be continually reinforced if we are to prepare our young people for the challenges that lie ahead. On the road to success, the most valuable thing you can have is not talent or luck, but perseverance. I remember a time, right at the start of my career, when I was turned down for more than 30 jobs. Even KFC said no to me when I tried for a position. It was a challenging period, but one thing never changed: my determination. If I had given up after the first few rejections, there would be no Alibaba today. And that's the most important lesson I want to share with you. Success only comes to those who keep trying, even when everything seems to be going wrong. The truth is that many people give up before they even start. They have a great idea or a dream, but at the first sign of difficulty, they back down. It's not easy to keep going when you face rejection or failure, but it's exactly at these times that you need to stand firm. As I always say, failure is just the start of something new. Every time I heard no, I became more determined to keep going. The difference between people who succeed and those who don't is not in the opportunities they have, but in their ability to persevere. So if you're facing difficulties right now, remember that every obstacle is an opportunity to learn and grow. One story that struck me was when, after so many failures, one of my teachers said to me, "Jack, you'll never make it. Give up and take another path." I could have taken that advice, but I decided that I wouldn't be defined by the limits that others placed on me. What I want you to understand is that if you give up easily, you'll never know what you're capable of. Persevering doesn't mean you'll never fail. It means you're willing to try again, even when all seems lost. It is this attitude that separates dreamers from achievers. People are often surprised when I talk about the challenges I faced. They see Alibaba's success today and think it was all easy. But the truth is that the success we see in the world is the result of years of hard work, dedication, and above all, perseverance. Nobody sees the sleepless nights, the mistakes, the moments of doubt, but it was these moments that prepared me for the great successes that came later. The question you have to ask yourself is, am I willing to keep going even when it seems impossible? And this is where the importance of taking action comes in. Success doesn't wait for those who stand still, waiting for the perfect moment. It comes to those who keep moving, however slowly. Every little step counts. Action is what turns dreams into reality. And perseverance is the fuel that keeps that constant movement going. Now think about how you can apply this to your own life and ask yourself, are you ready to take action despite the challenges? This brings us to another crucial issue for the future, the role of technology in creating a more sustainable world. While perseverance is the engine that drives us to act, technology is the tool we can use to create real and lasting solutions. I strongly believe that technology has the potential to solve some of the biggest challenges facing the world today, from climate change to poverty. At Alibaba, we have used technology to empower small businesses, optimize logistics, and reduce waste. Our goal is not only to boost business, but also to create a more sustainable world. And here's the key point. Technology alone is not enough. It needs to be used with purpose, guided by a vision of positive impact. I'm often asked how I see the future of sustainability. I believe that technology can play a crucial role, but only if it is used intelligently and responsibly. It's not just about innovation for innovation's sake, but about using technological tools to create real solutions to real problems. For example, the digitalization of business has helped to reduce the use of paper, while automation has improved efficiency in supply chains, reducing the waste of resources. When I think about Alibaba, I think about how we can continue to use technology not only to grow, but to help small businesses grow sustainably too. One of the most significant moments I experienced was when we started using technology to connect small businesses in remote regions with the global market. The idea that a store in a small village could sell its products to the whole world showed me the true transformative power of technology. But it's not just about profit, it's about creating a positive impact on people's lives and the environment. Sustainability should be a priority for all businesses, big or small. And technology offers us a powerful way to achieve it. The world is changing rapidly, and globalization has brought huge inequalities. Technology, when used correctly, can level the playing field, giving everyone the opportunity to participate and prosper. But it's important to remember that it's not enough to have the technology. You have to act with it consciously. At Alibaba, we invest heavily in technological innovations, but always with the aim of creating solutions that improve people's lives. I believe that if more companies start using technology in this way, we can build a future where economic progress and sustainability go hand in hand. The question we should all ask ourselves is, are we using technology in a way that really helps to build a better future? Success is not just about financial growth, but about the positive impact we create along the way. And if we use technology wisely, we have the power to transform the world into a more sustainable and inclusive place. And that brings us to the next challenge, ensuring that everyone has access to the opportunities that this technological revolution brings. Technology has the power to transform the world, but it will only be truly impactful if it is accessible to everyone. One of the biggest challenges we face today is ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to participate in this technological revolution. Globalization has brought many benefits, but it has also created huge inequalities. It is our duty as leaders and entrepreneurs to ensure that no one is left behind. At Alibaba, we have always been committed to using technology to empower small businesses, especially in disadvantaged regions. Because true success is not just about what you achieve, but about how you help others to achieve it too. Digital inclusion is not just about connecting people to the internet. It's about ensuring that everyone has the tools, knowledge, and opportunities they need to thrive. I remember when we launched the e-World Trade Platform, EWTP, a project that fills me with pride. The idea was simple: to give small businesses anywhere in the world the chance to sell their products globally, competing on an equal footing with large corporations. Inclusion isn't just a nice word, it's an action, and it's up to us to make sure that action becomes reality. We often think that technological innovations only benefit the rich or those with access to great resources. But the real revolution happens when we manage to get these innovations into the hands of those who need them most. At Alibaba, we have always believed that by empowering small businesses and entrepreneurs, we are creating a much greater impact than simply increasing our own growth. Technology can be a great equalizer, but only if we make inclusion a priority in everything we do. As I always say, if you help the people around you to grow, you will grow with them. The challenge of inclusion is global, but the solutions start locally. If we want a fairer and more equitable future, we need to invest in education, infrastructure, and, above all, people. It's not just about opening doors. It's about ensuring that everyone has the ability to walk through them. True inclusion requires continuous action. At Alibaba, we are constantly looking for ways to reduce barriers for small businesses around the world. This is what makes the technological revolution significant, the positive impact it can have on the lives of ordinary people. Inclusion must be at the heart of any growth strategy. Technology will only be a true success when it can benefit everyone, regardless of where they live or their resources. And this inclusive vision must guide the decisions we make now to ensure a better future. What can you do to ensure that no one is left behind? The answer to this question will be crucial for the future of global trade, which is the next step in this journey of action and innovation.
Throughout his career, Jack Ma has left an undeniable legacy of perseverance, innovation, and global impact. Along the way, he has shared some of the deepest and sometimes hardest to accept truths about success. In this video, Jack Ma brought valuable lessons, highlighting that success is not the result of chance, but of continuous action and the ability to learn from failure. He revealed how, despite facing rejection and difficulties, his persistence led him to found one of the largest companies in the world, Alibaba, and to transform the lives of millions of entrepreneurs. Jack Ma addressed fundamental themes such as the power of small gestures, showing that great transformations begin with small, often invisible daily actions. He stressed the importance of acting with purpose and using technology not just as a means of business growth, but as a tool for a more sustainable and inclusive future. A striking point was the difference between charity and philanthropy, with Ma emphasizing that real change requires long-term involvement and commitment, not just momentary donations. Another central aspect discussed by Jack Ma was the essential role of women in Alibaba's success, emphasizing that diversity is one of the keys to innovation. In addition, he spoke about the need to constantly adapt in a rapidly evolving technological world, where human skills such as creativity and empathy are more valuable than ever. Ma also reflected on the future of education, warning that the current model needs to change in order to prepare future generations for the challenges of an increasingly automated world. These teachings go far beyond theories. They are practical lessons that can transform lives as long as they are applied. Jack Ma made it clear that success belongs to those who are willing to take action, fail, and keep trying. If you haven't yet put what you've learned into practice, this is your chance. Watch it again, reflect, and most importantly, start applying the knowledge shared by Jack Ma to your own journey. Now that you know Jack Ma's lessons, the real question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Ma made it clear that success is not for those who sit around waiting for the perfect conditions. It belongs to those who act, who fail, and who keep trying. So, how can you start putting these principles into practice in your life today? Think about the small gestures you can make every day to get closer to your goals. The actions that seem insignificant now, but have the power to transform your journey in the future. If you feel inspired, remember that the key to turning this inspiration into success is action. Don't let the fear of failure paralyze you. As Jack Ma taught, failure is a fundamental part of the road to success. How about starting to use technology more intelligently, or perhaps rethink how you can contribute to a more inclusive and sustainable world? These are reflections that can guide you in your quest for a more prosperous future. Whenever you need an extra boost or motivation, come back and watch this video again. Jack Ma's teachings are a continuous source of inspiration. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep learning from content like this. And of course, we have more valuable insights waiting for you in the next video. How I accepted failure as part of success. Best motivational videos, Jack Ma. Don't miss the opportunity to keep learning and growing.